and welcome to another episode of Ask the Doc. I'm your host, Jennifer Filzen, and I want to welcome Audrey Roach. She is the owner of Beach's Therapy DBT and Mindfulness Center. Welcome, Audrey.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Okay, I need to ask you to educate me on something. DBT, what does that mean?
DBT, it's a form of behavioral therapy. It's cognitive therapy and behavioral therapy mixed in with mindfulness, and it's a gold star treatment. It treats, dialectical behavior therapy stands for dialectical, meaning two opposing things can coexist at the same time and both have a kernel of truth, right? We could think of a lot of things that we can love and hate something at the same time, right? So that's dialectical.
Oh, yeah.
And then behavior therapy. Yeah. And so then the behavior therapy piece is a lot of CBT, a lot of ACT is thrown in there as well. Mindfulness is a huge component. So it's the only evidence-based treatment, or the first, I guess I should say, it probably isn't the only anymore, to incorporate mindfulness and to have research data backing it and showing that how effective it is. So yeah, that's DBT.
Okay, that is cool. That is so cool. All right, thank you for defining that, because I know that we all have our own alphabet soup with each industry that we're in. And I'm like, that's a new one on me. Okay, so you're based in Jacksonville Beach, Florida. Awesome. Beautiful place to be. Tell us how you got started. I mean, your backstory is fascinating. And then take us from, how you got into this career and then where you are now.
Okay, sure. Actually, originally I was in television and film. And so I was living in New York City, and then 9/11 happened. And so I volunteered. I tried to figure out what did I used to want to do before I had to get hot breakfast for celebrities and do things that really didn't seem to fit what I needed to do anymore to be to make a difference. So I started volunteering up in the Bronx for a mentoring young adolescent girls, and I would do it every Saturday. And I wanted to do that forever. I was like, how do I do that and get paid? This is what I want to do. So unfortunately, I had to go back to college. So I went to grad school. I got accepted into NYU, much to everybody's surprise. And so that just kind of set the stage. And then after that, I applied for a fellowship, a postgraduate fellowship at the Yale Child Study Center, the Yale Medical School, and I got it. And so I went there, and that it just changed everything for me. I was introduced to treatments and modalities and research and psychiatrists and psychologists and clinicians and my brain was just exploding. It was 16 hours a day, 16 hours a day of just trainings and working in the clinic and working in the schools. And so from there, I got a position after I was done there in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Because where else do you go, right? After I don't know, you've gone to Yale, you need a break, right? So I went out to the middle of nowhere. I went to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And I got a job at a residential treatment facility for adolescents and youth, and right at the foot of the Tetons, right? So it was not a bad gig at all. And so I did that for 2 years, and then it was time to start a family. So I thought maybe working at a lockdown residential unit for really emotionally dysregulated, I think would be the nicest way to put it, youth was probably not the best bet for me, not the safest bet for me. So I went to the school system in Teton County. And so I was there for 2 years as a traveling school social worker, school therapist throughout the Teton County area. And then I am a Florida girl. And so the snow and the ice was a little much traveling over the Tetons. As often as I was, white knuckling it every morning, and so I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I needed a coast, actually. I just needed to be on the edge of, I just need to be on the coast. So Portland, Oregon, we went out there, loved it. It was great. I had my second child out there. I joined a group practice while I was there. So I really got the understanding of how private practice worked, how to be cohesive as a team and how to support each other. It was a huge group practice. Then from there, it was time. My youngest was 2, and my oldest was 4 and needed to be where we were going to be when school started. So back to Jacksonville Beach where my mom was, we went. She would not come out west. So it was like, okay, we'll come see you. So here we are. And when I was here, I got a job right away working at a outpatient and a PHP clinic. I know more acronyms, right? So anyway, partial hospitalization program. Sorry. So I was the lead clinician there. They told me that I was going to have to work that Thanksgiving. And I was like, ooh, let me see. So this is the only Thanksgiving where my children will be 4 and 2. And you want me to work? Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. So it was time to start my own. I looked for group practices here. There weren't any. I really didn't want to start my own practice. I wanted just to do the nice and easy, fit into somebody else's practice like I did in Portland, and it worked. So I could keep my mom's schedule and do all those mom things and work. So I wanted my cake and I wanted to eat it too. So that didn't happen. So I had to make it myself. And nobody knew what DBT was when I got here. And so I had been introduced to that in 2006 when I was at Yale. I've been trained by Marshall Lanahan in 2007, and then just kind of kept chasing it. But with 2 small babies, I really couldn't do as much as I wanted to do. So when I got here, I just started offering DBT and got even more training. And then more people wanted to do DBT with me because you really need to have a group of clinicians to do it properly, because there's group therapy and there's individual sessions, and then there's a team of clinicians that you meet with to support each other, and phone consultations. So there's a lot of elements to it. And so for a couple of years, I was doing all that by myself. So
Wow.
and I had wonderful Nancy Gordon. I found her down in Tampa, and she was a great support for me. And she's a very seasoned DBT therapist. And so she was a fabulous mentor. And she kept saying, you can do this, Audrey, you can do this. And she's right. So now then Beaches Therapy,
Nice.
DBT and Mindfulness Center happened.
Well, let me ask you. All right. So clearly you've taken this cutting edge technology training. I say technology, that's probably the wrong word. Cutting edge therapy and training, and you bring it to Florida, and now you've started a movement. Okay, so tell me, what are some of the success stories that you see with this DBT and mindfulness training? And again, forgive me, I've got to have you spell it out again.
Dialectical
What was
behavior
it again? DBT
therapy.
stands for? One more time.
Dialectical behavior therapy.
Oof, that's a lot. So what are some of the success stories?
Well, I have past clients that they still keep in touch, and they send me pictures and they show me what their life is like, and they no longer want to die, because it's a self-harm and suicidal ideation are initially what DBT was created for by Marshall Lanahan. And so since then, it's turned into, it can help everybody with everything, in my opinion. They're just really great skills to live by. So there's actually, somebody just yesterday sent me a picture of them 3 years ago when they started with me, and then them now. And it was like you couldn't even recognize them. By the time people come to DBT, wherever they're going to find DBT, whether it's at Beaches Therapy or anywhere else, they've been to many, many providers before and failed, and feel like, well, I don't know what else to do, and how is this going to be any different? And the thing is with DBT, it's not like traditional psychotherapy. I am going to ask you how you're doing, but it's not really going to be like, okay, how does that make you feel? And why do you think you did that? And, it's more, there's coaching involved, and there's skills training. And so it's really like, hey, here's a whole bunch of stuff you could try. How about you try this one and come back and tell me, and try this one? And how about we shape this? And so there's a lot of behavior shaping and modification happening, and learning how to accept things for as they are. Radical acceptance is a huge component, along with the mindfulness and learning how to meditate. And DBT is really about learning how to tolerate your life as it is and not make it any worse, right? Because there's pain. Life is pain, right? Life is painful. It just is. However, we don't have to be suffering, right? So suffering is when like we keep going up against it, and trying to change it. We don't accept it, and this can't be. And that's when the shoulds come in there and all the judgments, and it just shouldn't be this way. And how could this? Why is this happening to me? And what we say in DBT is, it doesn't really matter, really. Like that doesn't matter. Like what matters is the right now, and how are we going to get through where we're at right now, and what skills can we bring up in order to stay where we are and to keep moving forward, because back here doesn't matter. Like whatever happened, we can't change any of that. So where there's acceptance, there's change. So that's so hard for so many people. Like that's so hard for so many people. I know for me, it was hard, like, and I tell them, when they come and see us, there's 6 of us now at Beaches Therapy. And so, we're all practicing these skills. And we're all continually getting better, because I don't ever think you top out with DBT.
Wow.
Like you're always perpetually learning. However, I tell my clients, I want you to fire me, right? So you can do this on your own.
Well, listen, Audrey, we've run out of time, honey, but thank you so very, very much for joining me. I mean, really, everybody, thank you so much for watching today's episode. I really want to thank you, Audrey Roach. And if you guys are interested in finding out more about Beaches Therapy, DBT, and Mindfulness Center in Jacksonville Beach, Florida, please go to Buzz TV at iwannabuzz.com, and you'll find out more about the great things she's doing and learn a lot more about DBT. Thank you so very much, everyone, for watching, and have a great day. See you next time. Bye.